right, and welcome to the TSG Multimedia video podcast for November 1st, 2014. This is John sitting with
Dan,
as usual, and we are looking at something that I've been waiting to see, which are these things Dan's been talking about called Pastel.
Yeah.
Or Pastels, I suppose.
Yeah. They actually sell this as a kit for weathering trains, and it comes with, I'll move this for a second, comes basically with these colors, which are all, rusty earth tone kind of things. And then also these applicators. There's a couple, these are foam.
Right.
These would be maybe good for broad areas. I haven't really had a chance to...
it's trying to get away.
Yeah, it's trying to get away. I haven't really had a chance to play with these too much. As you can see, they're perfectly clean. And then it comes with these, which you just... you slip these off and you can stick them on the end of this little...
Oh, it's like a brush thing.
Yeah, it's like a little brush. But I've actually been using them just with the same micro brushes that I use to do powder weathering.
Yeah, I can see why you would do that because those are small to begin with.
Yeah.
And you're usually working with pretty fine detail on the models.
Right, and you get that same kind of control out of it.
Yeah. It seems strange that the package had 3 empty spots like that. Did they say that's for anything, or is that...
No, that's just the way it came.
That is so why? That's weird.
These are actually an art product. So if you go to an art supply store or online to a place like Jerry's Artorama or dickblick.com or something like that.
What?
Dickblick.com.
Dick Blick?
Yeah. No,
I have no comment.
I buy art supplies from them all the time.
Okay, he's saying Dick Blick with
B-L-I-C-K.
Yeah. Make sure you put the B there, or else you might come up with a different
That's
website.
what I was saying. If you thought I was saying anything else, you're misreading.
Well, I just don't want people to go to the wrong site, Dan.
No, that would, you probably wouldn't find art supplies.
If that perverted train guy said to go to this website, what's wrong with him?
Yeah, no. But you can get these actually in a lot of other colors, which I was thinking could be useful for weathering. Because, for example, if you have this yellow car and you wanted to fade it,
a pale yellow,
you could
right?
get a pale yellow, and go over it with some of that. So I could see that having some other colors, and since you can buy them open stock, you could buy just the ones you want.
Yeah, and you could just drop them right in there. That actually makes sense in that context because then you're just adding, so you can be like, oh, well, this is my train pastel thing.
Yeah, I think this is basically like a starter kit,
right?
But anyway, they seem to work pretty much just like powders. I'm just going to get some of this dark brown color on my micro brush, and then just like powders, you can do like little rust stains and things.
Now, here's a question for you. I know with the powders, you have to blow the little bit of dust off, or else it'll stick, right?
Yeah. So,
are you just kind of painting it, or do you have to blow dust off on this one too?
These aren't as messy. That's one advantage I could see to using these over powders, is that they're a little bit cleaner. Yeah. I don't know if you can tell, but there's really not a lot of residue coming off the car. So
there's nothing to blow off then, really?
Not really. You don't. It doesn't seem to need that as much.
Yeah.
So there's still a little bit, but it's not anything like it is when you use powders.
What about the need for a dull coat? Is that still necessary, or can it stick to bare plastic?
No, I think. I haven't actually tried that, but I would imagine that this car's been dull coated,
right?
So that's usually whenever you weather anything, that's a good first step because it gives you a nice flat surface that has more grab. Yeah. Than a bare unpainted plastic.
So we should probably still dull coat with this.
Yeah, okay. I would definitely say that would be the same. Largely, it's at least from what I've done so far, the technique of using these seems to be very similar to what you do with powders. Just the advantages that one, they come in more colors, and two, that they're a little bit neater. In terms of not making such a mess. But you can also mix the two. You can use some powders and some of this, and it doesn't have to be either or situation.
It's good to have just another tool in a toolbox to
Yeah, exactly.
to make
Exactly.
things look good.
Yeah. So I mean, I haven't really had a chance yet to work with these as long as I've worked with other things. So I mean, this is just a kind of a preliminary what I'm doing right now. But as you can see, the effects are pretty much what I would expect to see if I was using a dark brown colored powder on this roof line.
Right.
So
Do you think there are any advantages to using this as a way to detail the seams on the side of the car, or would powder be better for that? Because it is a little more subtle. I mean, I think, right? Isn't powder a little more subtle than this?
Well, let's try it.
I mean, because once you blow off the excess powder, it does tend to. Are we going to do a little comparison? Is that it?
Yeah, I'm going to use a little bit of. They don't have a charcoal gray in this kit, but this is sort of a lighter brown. You got to be a little careful with a light colored car like this, so you don't go too dark because it may look bad.
Yeah, I guess you just have to apply less, right? Kind of.
Yeah, I don't. So, yeah, if I was doing this,
Oh, so some of it does blow off.
some of it does. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
so-
not. I said it not as messy. I didn't say it wasn't entirely, but
Oh, and you can blend it the same way with the brush.
yeah, apparently.
Yeah, you just have to be careful when you put it on initially, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. But see, you can
Yeah.
you can do that to highlight the seams. Same way I would do with powders. So, generally, like I said, the using of it seems pretty similar.
Looks like it. And what's cool about this is with the light and everything, the way it's the camera and everything set up, you can really see the difference between the seams on the left and the seams on the right.
Yeah,
They're definitely popping more.
yeah. That's one of the things I like to do with covered hoppers is get these vertical seams. It really helps to improve the look of the car.
Yeah.
Some other car types too, if they have that kind of thing going on, box cars sometimes really can help the appearance.
Yeah, this seems like a pretty nice car too. What is this?
This is an Intermountain car.
Oh, okay.
It's a pretty good model. Always helps to start with something that's pretty good to begin with. But
Yeah, kind of like video. Your end product or your end result depends on how good your source is, right?
yeah,
I always get a kick out of that. You do work for people and maybe they provide you the source material and you edit it together and then they're disappointed with the results. It's like, well, I didn't film it,
yeah,
They're just like, oh, I thought it would be better. Remember that, folks. If you ever hire someone to edit something, remember that the source material does count. And if you give someone junk, it'll turn out like edited junk.
yeah. Garbage in, garbage out.
We're editors, not magicians. To quote an old DeForest Kelley from Star Trek.
Yeah, or misquote.
Yeah, well, it's in
yeah.
that vein, right?
Yeah. Anyway, this is some of the lighter rust color here I'm using.
Yeah, so would you put this on the couplers too, or is there a danger it would fall off?
No, you can. In fact, now of course I have dull coated this coupler as well. So
Right.
without dull coat, I don't think anything would stick to it because it's pretty slick.
Yeah, maybe try that sometime and let us know the results if it sticks without dull coat.
I'm pretty sure it won't.
Yeah.
In fact, here we can try it. Okay, so here's our experiment. This is a Katy coupler straight out of the box with nothing on it.
So there's no dull coat. So all of my insistence on wanting to find out if it sticks is paying off now. We're going to find out.
Yeah, and it's not really too well.
Okay. So the
Yeah.
moral of the story is always use dull coat before you try to put weathering
That
on.
hardly did anything.
Are you sure you had enough of that stuff on it?
I don't know that it's going to.
It's going to get aggressive now. Let's see.
It's
like it rubs off, but then it kind of just falls off.
Yeah, that's because the surface is so slick it has nothing to grab.
Yeah.
See, the flat finish paint has a rough surface if you were to look at it with a microscope.
Well, that's why it's flat. It doesn't reflect light if it's rough, right? It
Right.
absorbs light.
It scatters the light. That's
Yeah.
why it looks that way. But that rough finish also helps to hold stuff like powder and
Yeah, it's like
pastels and things like that.
filling in little pits, right?
Whereas this, the best I'm able to do is get in the corners. I'm able to get maybe a little bit to stay, but I don't really know if that would stay for very long.
Okay.
So, yeah, and if you tried this on a bare plastic car that hadn't been coated, I would imagine you get the same result.
I'm sure.
Yeah. So now I'm going to try this little other applicator, and I'm going to use some of this sort of a creamy color that they've got. Since this is looks like a cement hopper, and a lot of times they get stained, so I'm just going to run this down
Oh,
like
wow,
this.
look at that.
Do some streaking.
Dan's streaking on this podcast.
Yeah. But this actually seems to work pretty convincingly.
Yeah, that looks pretty cool. Now, that's something you would normally do with a paintbrush, huh?
Yeah, you could do it with a wash or something.
Yeah.
But it would be a little harder to do that with powder. But yeah, that's pretty nice. I'm kind of impressed. So
this might speed up your weathering process.
It could, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So that, I can see that having this broad applicator, would definitely be a plus. I really like the way this looks here with this light color streaking over the end, the bottom sill.
I like the control that the brush gives it too.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
Yeah,
because you could even turn the brush, like on its side to get different effects, huh?
Like I'm trying to get a little bit into this recessed area here, right here. So just put the brush at a slight angle and do that.
Wow, very cool.
Yeah, so that actually, looking pretty good and pretty easy.
Yeah, like I said, another tool in the tool belt. I like it.
Yeah. So, yeah, definitely seems like a pretty cool and worthwhile thing to have these pastels. So I'm glad I got them.
All right. Well, I guess that'll do it for this month's video podcast. So make sure you catch our audio podcast on the 15th as usual. And I wanted to mention one thing real quick here, Dan. If you find our content worthwhile, to be sure to subscribe and rate the video with a thumbs up, because if we get enough ratings and subscriptions, it helps people find us more. And the more subscribers we get, the more content we can put out there.
Yeah.
So anyway, thanks for watching.
Yeah, thanks.